candidates, so they would just as soon us not get the coverage that the others are getting, and they will concentrate on establishment-type politicians.
Sounds from the trail there, the Texas governor on the trail in Iowa talking about the Fed chairman, the congresswoman from Minnesota, Michelle Bachmann, talking about Warren Buffett and his tax suggestions, and Congressman Ron Paul talking about getting covered in the media. Paul has just purchased a six-figure ad buy in Iowa and New Hampshire with a new ad.
And division. One man that stood apart, stood strong and true.
Ron Paul in this ad links Democrats and Republicans and says essentially that they're all talking from the same sheet of, or singing from the same sheet of music in a well-produced ad. Let's bring in our panel about the race. Bill Kristol, editor of the Weekly Standard. Kirsten Powers, columnist for the Daily Beast, and syndicated columnist Charles Crichton. Kirsten, we'll start with you. Ron Paul getting a lot of attention for not getting attention. He finished second in the straw poll by 152 votes. Our email boxes are filled with Ron Paul supporters.
Revolution.
He was on the channel today saying that he deserves attention.
Well, yeah, I think anybody who does anything on TV hears from the Ron Paul people a lot, including myself. And their complaint is that the media is biased against him, that they don't take him seriously. I can say as a commentator, I think commentators look at it and they say, look, the reason he didn't get attention in Iowa is because we can look at it and say this isn't somebody who's going to make it out of a Republican primary because of the views that he takes on foreign policy, for example, are just not going to go over well with Republican voters. On the other hand, I think it's fair to say that he should get coverage, news coverage, but he shouldn't expect people to say that he's going to win when people think we know how primary voters operate, and that's not what they're looking for.
Charles, we know what you said about Congressman Paul and his chances. Is it fair to say that he is getting more support and attention, maybe not from the media, but from voters across the country than he has in the previous times when he's run?
Yes, I think it's true, and I think libertarianism, which is his philosophy, is behind a lot of the what happened in November of last year, the rise of the Tea Party, for example, and it's a very strong element in American conservative thought, but it is, in many ways, it's sort of oppositionist. It's a terrific critique of mainstream Republican or conservative thought. It reins it in, it tries to keep it from straying into too much support of the big government, etc. But as a governing philosophy, I say this over again, and every time I say it, I get a bucket full of email. I think it's unrealistic to think that in any way he'd either win the nomination or the presidency. Now, I would say one thing, the intensity of his support and the broadening of it over, say, the last 4 years or perhaps 8 years, indicates to me that, and the content of that ad that we just talked about, attacking Republicans and Democrats, indicates to me there's a fairly good chance that if he doesn't get the attention or respect or support he thinks he deserves in the nominating process, he could run as an independent and he would be a tremendously important factor in that case.
Which would cause problems for Republicans.
Absolutely. It could cost them the election.
Bill, let's turn to Texas Governor Rick Perry and his comments about the
Revolution.
Ben Bernanke.